welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I'm here to do my favorite books of 2020 video. I know this is a little bit late being uploaded, but better late than never, I guess. So I had a really good reading year in 2020. I didn't read as many books as I wanted to read, but I did read a lot of really great books. I am talking about my top 5 favorite books of the year in this video. It was hard to honestly narrow it down to just 5. I could have made this video 10 hours long if I really wanted to, but let's just talk about the top 5. These are in no particular order, but I will talk about my favorite book of the year at the very end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But without me rallying further, let's just read it and get started. So I'm talking about Slay by Brittany Morris. This is a book I read with a bunch of my booktube friends back in the summer, and I loved this book so much. I had my expectations really high going in. It did not let me down. It exceeded my expectations by far. I love this so much. This is a YA, I would say urban sci-fi, I guess you could say. It follows our main character, who is a video game developer of this really popular game called Slay, which is basically kind of inspired by Black Panther. And it is a safe space for Black gamers, Black creators to, have their own space to themselves. And we are following her. Nobody knows that she's the creator of the game. She's anonymous. And we are following her as this game gets put in a scandal and being accused of being racist. I love this book so much. If you are into video games like I am, I think you would really, really like this. If you are a fan, I hate to compare it to this, but if you're a fan of Ready Player One, I think you'll like this as well. I really like it. Definitely worth the hype. The book I wouldn't shut up about after I read it at the very beginning of 2020, and that is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the first book in the Witcher series. I read this because the TV show had just come out. I had heard nothing but fantastic things about the series as well as the TV show, and oh my god, so good. I loved this first book. So the first 2 books in the series are actually like short story collections, but you do need to read them in order to get introduced to the main series. I love this so much. This is a adult fantasy series that is following our main character Geralt, who is a witcher, which is basically a monster hunter in this world, and you figured they would be very well respected, but unfortunately they are actually feared. And we're following Geralt in this book as he's going on these adventures, trying to kill these monsters and all that. I loved it so much. I have the second book on my TBR. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I really need to. I'm due for a reread on this first book sometime in 2021, so definitely worth picking up as well. This is a book I actually don't unfortunately have a physical copy of, but I did listen to this on audiobook, and that is The Deep by River Solomon. This came as a recommendation from my friend Erica with a Broken Spine, who I will link down below. I loved this book as well. Like, obviously I loved all of these books, but man, this one blew me away. This is another, I would say it's adult, maybe borderline YA sci-fi, having to do with mermaids. And this is following the descendants of pregnant African slaves that were thrown overboard, and they have kind of sort of turned into mermaids, and it is so good. I believe it's inspired by a song, which I will also link down below. The audiobook is absolutely fantastic. The narration is great. Everything about this is great. Again, definitely worth the hype. We have Upstage by Kalisha Buchanan, who I hope I'm saying that name right. I'm sorry if I did not. This is actually a recommendation from my uncle, who is an English teacher, and this is a book that I don't hear anybody talking about, but I really would like this to be in people's hands. This is a book that came out, I want to say it was in the early 2000s, and this I think is extremely important with everything going on with the Black Lives Matter movement right now. This is YA contemporary. It is following 2 characters who are in a relationship, and the main male character has been accused of murdering his father, and it is told in letters between the 2 over the course of 10 years. It's an extremely powerful, extremely moving story. I was in tears at the end of this book. I really, really liked it. And, seeing the relationship between these characters is just insane as it, goes over the next decade after this incident has happened. I loved it so much. So let's talk about my favorite book of 2020. I think everybody knew this was coming because this is one of the few books that's ever made me cry, along with Upstage. Like, I don't cry in books very often, but let's talk about Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, the 7th and final book in the Throne of Glass series. Oh my gosh, guys. I knew in my heart when I first picked this up that this was definitely gonna be one of my favorite books of the year, if not number 1, and obviously it is number 1. I loved it so much. Like, again, I don't cry in books very often, but again, 2 books on this list, as I hold the other book the wrong way, have made me cry in 2020. Like, oh my gosh, especially this one. This one had me sobbing. Like, I could not stop crying. This is a series I had been reading since I first joined BookTube back in 2016. I had been putting off reading this final book and the 6th book as well for years, and I finally picked it up. I finally read it, and my gosh, like, why did it take me this long to read it? I was part of the Thermal Gods Read Along that was hosted by Cassie and Brittany's Book Find, along with myself and Paula over at Fandom Books, and I will link the live show for this book down below. I was so glad to have a group of friends to read this book because they were there for me when I finally read the ending, as I cried my eyes out over the ending. Oh my gosh, I love this series so much. Definitely will have a special place in my heart forever. That is it for my favorite books of 2020, guys. So many good books to talk about. I highly recommend picking these all up if you have not already. But if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And be sure to let me know in the comments down below some of your favorite books of 2020, as I would love to know. And as always, all my social media links are linked down below for you guys to check out if you'd like to follow me on any of those. And all being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys soon for another video. Thanks for watching, everybody.